And welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori La Bey, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation as usual as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort.
All right, here we go. What you think about, you will bring about.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. If you enjoyed our opening music, it's called Clarion Call by the Mark Arneson Band and features Maya Dore, and you can download that on any of your favorite platforms. And they are donating proceeds to Alzheimer Speaks, so we would love for you to get a wonderful upbeat song and help promote dementia as well. I know many of you are new to Alzheimer Speaks, so just to give you a little background, my mom had dementia for 30 years. It was life-changing, and voila, I changed careers. I was in residential real estate for 25 years. Never thought I'd leave, but I thought it was important to connect people to services, products, and tools that they deserve to know about. And so here on our show, we're about sound information, not just sound bites. We want to make sure that you get the real story behind the services that are available to support you out there. And all voices are welcomed. We have interviewed many people with dementia, their families, people providing, like I said, services, products, and tools from everything from advocates to movie directors and singers and songwriters to people right on the front line to many research programs as well. And today we are a live show, so if you'd like to join us, you can do that by calling in at 323-870-4602. That's 323-870-4602. And, of course, I have to thank you, our listeners. We would not be what we are or where we are without your support. Your likes, your clicks, your shares have been just absolutely fabulous and have grown our reach significantly. So I hope you continue to take those seconds to just like, click, and share because you are making a difference in people in your own sphere that you don't even know are dealing with dementia. And to me, the only way we're going to win this battle is to build a sense of community, get information out there so it feels normal, so it feels okay to reach out for help. And I know people are tapping in not only to our radio show, but our blog, our website, our YouTube channel. There are so many different facets and platforms that we have to try to be able to reach people. Now, today we are going to be talking about technology that is provided by the Family CareSpace. But before I interview them, I want to give a shout out to just a few organizations. One is Coro Health, and that's CORO Health, and they are, during COVID-19, giving away their platforms Music First and Coro Health. So just go to corohealth.com. You'll see a big thing about COVID-19. These are again, music and faith-based programs that you can download for free. So it's absolutely an amazing program that can help many. Also, the memory cafes, even though they were in person and a lot of us are still in lockdown or don't feel comfortable going out quite yet, the memory cafe has also put together a directory for virtual cafes that you can join around the world, and it doesn't make any difference where you live. And so just go to memorycafedirectory.com, memorycafedirectory.com, and then we've been doing a few sing-along, sing-alone, we call them, with Barbara Lee Friedman. And I'll be pushing out the fourth one here probably towards the mid to end of the week. And those are also on my YouTube channel. People have really enjoyed those. We had one couple where he said his wife with dementia had watched it like 29 times in 2 days. and was very engaged. So music can be powerful even if virtual. We also have our dementia chats, which are video interviews of a panelist living with dementia. They're the true experts, and they talk about what they would like to see the world do to better serve those with dementia and their families. We also have something called Quick Tips, which are just short little videos of tips I wish someone would have told me when I stepped into this world of dementia with my own mother. So, with no further ado, let me go ahead and introduce you to our guest today. The first is Nathan Gruber, and he is his interest in senior care became evident back in high school and college while he was serving as a nurse aide. And from there, it just continued his advancement in the healthcare field, serving in many different positions like marketing director, nursing home and assisted living administrator, executive director of a continuing care retirement community, vice president of operations, and most recently as regional director of operations prior to joining the Family CareSpace as the national director. So welcome, Nathan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you for asking, and thank you so much for your time, Lori. And I look forward to just spending some time with all of your listeners, and thank you to all of your listeners as well.
Wonderful. Let me introduce your sidekick here, and then we'll get our conversation going. So Nathan McCoy's career spans over 30 years of helping organizations align process, tools, and people with their mission. And in the late 2006, he embarked on a mission driven really deeply by a spiritual desire to help those who suffered from memory impairment and all they are connected to, including staff in this journey. In 2007, he led teams that developed and built a state-of-the-art memory care community that used Family CareSpace, which is a real-time sensor-based technology company focused on increasing transparency in senior care environments. And Jonathan's passion is about bringing this first-of-a-kind, proven innovation to senior care settings as the founder and president of Family CareSpace. So welcome. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much, Lori, for what you're doing to help others in this journey learn and make the best as we can from it. So really excited to be here, and very grateful as well for the audience that you have, care and concern for those that suffer from dementias, Alzheimer's, and yes, community. We need community, and I thank you for your work in stimulating that and fostering that. Thank you.
Well, great. Before I get into my line of questioning, I always ask my guests, and I'm going to throw this first to you, Jonathan, and that is, have you been personally touched within your own family or circle of friends by dementia?
The interesting question, important question, but interesting for me is no one immediately, but what happened was when I was looking at assisted living community settings, I would invariably see that lock-up part where the memory care was, and I just could not help myself. I wanted to understand what was going on. I went in, I spent a lot of time, and I was just drawn to what can we do to help this situation be much better than it was. So that's my connection, and from that my life's changed. This is my mission, right, to do everything I can. So that's the root of that.
Wonderful. And Nathan, how about you? Have you been personally touched by dementia in your family or circle of friends?
Yes, I have. And, going back, as you mentioned, Lori, working as a nurse aide, I started volunteering in high school, and I studied gerontology and geriatrics in college, and worked at a local assisted living community and worked on the Alzheimer's and dementia community, part of the community. And that experience forever shaped me and changed me. And in addition, aunts and uncles and several family members, we've been impacted and touched by the disease. And as I often say, it's just such a very, very difficult disease on so many. And so, Lori, thank you for all of what you're doing. And so, yes, was touched many a times and continue to be touched by the disease. And that's what, in many ways, led me to where I am now with Family CareSpace, just knowing, as Jonathan said, all the ways we can help not only the residents and those living and residing in care communities, but those caring for them as well, and then their families who are so far away in many cases, or just unable to visit them for multitude of reasons, especially now.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jonathan, can you tell me why you think transparency is important in senior care communities, especially in memory care, and then you add on COVID on top of it? I just think there's so many levels to transparency, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Oh, just a second. Or for some reason, we're not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'm learning about this phone thing. So it's really the heart of what drew me to provide Family CareSpace. When I looked at the existing environment out there for not just memory care, but generally in care settings, it seemed to be, very much is for many. And you find the community, you hope it's the right place. But once you let your mom, your dad, your loved one into that community, you're not as connected as you were, of course. They're not with you. They're not down the hallway. They're not in the same room with you for the bulk of the day now. And there's a tremendous sense for many of loss, of couldn't I keep them here with me longer, all the emotions that go with that. So the communities that are out there, by and large, and we're talking well over 90%, they don't have that engagement component, that emotional connected component. And add that, as you said, Lori, the COVID quarantine element to it. So you can't physically even go there to meet and to greet. So transparency, which was always the foundation of Family CareSpace, it's what drew me. It's what made me know that I do have something of value, I think, I can add to help lift this situation to a better place. So transparency means I can see what's going on in the community as a husband, of someone who has a wife, what have you, a loved one in the community, through going through the secure portal. So I can see this is a part of the Family CareSpace technology. So I log in to our own website, our own family website. I'll see the faceplate of the building, and I can just see where my mom or dad are, or the loved one is. It's a dot on the map, and I can tell when they're moving about. And that transparency gives me knowledge that they're in the building, they're in the dining area, they're in the courtyard, they're in their bedroom, but I can see that. In addition, the staff know that I can see that too. So I can tell you that in the community that we built, and we implemented Family CareSpace in July of 2013, we had a lot of time in how this has played out in very specific situations for family and staff. We have one example of a resident that needed to have some care delivered at 3 a.m. in the morning as part of the care plan. Well, the family would know if that occurred because of being able to see the system. The staff as well knew that they better deliver the care, not that they needed that, but, we're all in this together, right? Community implies that there's connectivity with a lot of different players, right? It's not just care people with a resident, it's family with that care staff and that resident and the staff administration that comes into play. So the transparency of seeing where everyone is, being able to know things are being done, as well as to inquire about things that should be done, that didn't appear to be done, it really does help us deal with this very challenging moment. As a family member, I'd like to know that my mom is active and doing things, or if she's not, why. And it's a great means, this portal of the community, to get everybody on the same page. Mom may be, needing to stay in her room for a while because of a cold or something she's dealing with. I can send a message out from the community to all the families so they can see that. So there's a great understanding of what's going on. And then this is something that's really cool. So many pearls, so many moments occur in the community that the family aren't aware of. They're not there. Staff have, as part of the Family CareSpace, they have a mobile app called the Care Provider app. And in that application on that mobile device, they can capture video, photos, etc., for those family members that agree, that want that. And then the community will make sure it's appropriate, and then that new content is given to the family. So, for example, my mom, I hadn't seen her in a while. I'm living in San Diego. She's in a community here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. She may have had a great day, was in the puzzle room. Staff took out their mobile device. My mom spoke to them about a story or some little vignette. I see that video, and it brings me to her. It brings me to that moment in time that she was sharing. And other family members that are connected to the portal, we can all share things as well amongst ourselves. It's secure. There's no marketing in the back end by somebody trying to sell you medical devices or what have you. It is truly secure and private for the family. So that transparency, it does a couple of things. One, it brings peace of mind to the family. Number two, it really helps engagement with the resident, with the staff and the resident, meaning that when we as a family saw a video of my mom having a really nice moment, it's indicating that staff member, John, took that video and a picture of John, and it's 90% of the time, families go out of their way to say, thank you, John, for that. It meant so much to us. John gets brought into the family story as well. There's more connectivity between the resident and the family member and the staff and the family members as well. So transparency really just takes so many good, it just brings out so many good moments and clarity. It's much easier to deal with difficult situations when you know that everybody is being transparent and trying to have the best outcome possible. Mistakes happen, definitely, but if it's let's hide it, maybe they don't find out. If that approach is taken, unfortunately, I see it out there a lot, those tend to blow up. They tend to be, the situation gets much more worse than it needed to be. So we want to avoid that. And that's at the heart of what Family CareSpace is all about.
Okay, great. Nathan, is there anything that you want to add to, the transparency of the platform, Family CareSpace?
When I think of transparency, thank you, Lori, as, a caregiver and just working in senior living for my career, I think about safety. I think about resident dignity. I think about resident privacy and family peace of mind, as Jonathan mentioned, and staff engagement and staff efficiency. So much time is spent running around as a caregiver, and with our preemptive alert capabilities and on a memory impairment, cognitive impairment community, say there's a resident who has a tendency to wander into other residents' rooms throughout the day or the night. With our preemptive alerts, we can set that up so should that resident go in a room, and we could set it so it's 2 rooms or 5 rooms or every room. depending on that individual, because so much of this is just individualized. And our system is based on that individual. And so those alerts would then notify the caregiver if someone were to wander in another room or in an area, a part of the community. And so the staff wouldn't be running around necessarily if they didn't need to help redirect somebody. We could set it up so it's auto-handled if the resident is only in the other room for, say, less than 5 seconds or 10 seconds. So when I think about staff efficiency, and as we know, our healthcare heroes right now, and thank you so much if any of you happen to be listening, or prior nurses, thank you, current nurses, and hopefully future nurses. We are so grateful for all that you do, and this will help you. This will help our caregivers deliver the care they need, stay engaged with family members, be efficient. We have asset trackers as well, so you can put, I hate to use the word tracker, so we can monitor location of different devices. So heaven forbid during COVID and in a nursing home, if they did have ventilators, you would know where everyone was. And other medical devices. It could be shower chairs or walkers or wheelchairs. So the staff isn't running around looking for those. And then, that also, it always takes me back to peace of mind as a family member. If you have a loved one in a care community, transparency is giving you peace of mind, means you have peace of mind. So. Wonderful.
A couple of things I guess I would like to add that I see in terms of the use of this is a change in, and I truly believe a change in leadership style. When you are transparent, you have stepped up to the plate and said, I will be accountable. And I will leverage our new tools, not only as training needs, but also to amplify the good that's being done and increasing those connections. And I think that those are extremely powerful things. And I look at the protests right now and, what the technology has done to bring it, really to a head into life, to say we are not going back. This is where we're at. The majority of the population agrees on this, and we can do this in a peaceful manner, and it's breaking out the peaceful protesters from the rioters. And I think in any business you have the peaceful people that are trying to kind of work on the greater good, and you get those bad apples every now and again, and that's kind of unavoidable in society, but it helps weed that out. It addresses that and gives balance to the situation as well, which I think is important. And I like the idea of being able to monitor, those kind of major equipment items to reduce time needed to locate those. And I don't know if you do this right now, but families might even be interested in that on some of their items, because I know at times they worry about theft, especially with smaller items. It might be something like an iPad or something like that. And I don't know if that's workable at all, or staff sometimes are looking to be able to, if they don't all have an iPad, to be able to search for that so that they can do an engagement piece or whatever too. So just food for thought on that. I want to dive a little bit deeper into, layman terms, what the Family CareSpace platform, does and how it actually works. You've mentioned several different modes and things, but I'm wondering if you can give us some examples of how the engagement has played out, maybe feedback from family that you've gotten on that, or the community has. Same if there's been any statistics in terms of that asset tracker, peace of mind and things like that. Jonathan, anything to add to those items at all?
Well, this is Nathan Gruber. I can start this one, and
okay,
Jonathan, if you want to chime in. So, in layman, when I think of layman terms, and what does Family CareSpace do? So we are a next generation nurse call or emergency call system and resident, family, and staff engagement app. And what does that mean? All senior living communities have to have nurse call emergency call systems. These call systems are, in the majority of the cases, very antiquated. They're pull cords attached to the wall. Many of these memory care communities have some of these antiquated systems as well that just do not work well for someone, especially with a cognitive impairment. And so we are a next generation. We replace that, and we take senior living to the future. And I guess it's going to sound harsh, but you know what? I think sometimes you have to just tell it how it is. It's, when I came on board to Family CareSpace, one of the thoughts for me was, I have children. My grandmother, I've worked with seniors. I've worked with, and my child's, daycare. They have better technology than my grandmother ever had, and than these senior living communities ever have. My goodness sake, pet care and these animal care places, and we need great care for our pets. Don't get me wrong, we need it. But they have better technology than the majority of our senior living communities. And when I say that, the transparent, it's what we are at Family CareSpace. We are true real-time location. So we know where people are, the staff, the residents, visitors. Every visitor who comes in, assigned a Family CareSpace name badge, we know where they are, who they visited. Perfect for contact tracing, which I know, and we are true contact tracing, which I know we'll get into a little bit later. So we offer next generation nurse call system with our family portal so that people can stay engaged with their loved ones. The staff can stay engaged with their loved ones at a care community, and this encompasses independent living, assisted living, memory care communities. I think I know we're perfect for memory care communities. So, yes, Lori, that would be just in layman terms how I would explain it, and that, again, we are real-time clinical grade monitoring. So we know there are some phonies, there are some systems out there that, it might be Bluetooth or Wi-Fi based or some of these other technologies, and they just don't work reliably. I lived that life before. And when I say live that life, my staff was running around, false alarms, thinking people were on one floor, they're on another floor. Those systems just don't work. We need true real-time clinical grade monitoring, and that's who we are at Family CareSpace.
Wonderful. Thank you. Jonathan, anything you want to add to that?
Nathan really hit it well. One of the things that I did back when I was looking at the technology, the sensor base, I spent about a year and a half. I looked at Bluetooth. I looked at a pure radio frequency identification, or RFID. I looked at ultrasound, different methods to determine location. One of the things that was so clear is that the technology we picked, which is using infrared, the next generation, as Nathan said, infrared, that gives us 100% room certainty. Somebody is in a room or not. The other technologies have some really significant flaws. May not be apparent initially, but my gosh, if you and I had the fortunate situation of owning and running a community, so I really got the operational realities, right? It's not just nice to have and whatever, but, are people really going to use it? Does this help in the health delivery, or does it get in the way? And one of the challenges, which I think should be highlighted, is Bluetooth, for example. Those batteries need to be replaced on a monthly basis. Ours are 3 to 5 years. And think about that impact, because if a battery dies with those Bluetooth, you've lost the ability to locate in a reasonable area or proximity. Another part of that, too, is signal strength. If it's based on a radio frequency, there are so many different things that can impact that location based on things that happen in the radio spectrum. Not to get too technical, but the point is, the bottom line, I knew I would want to know for sure my mom is in her room, that my staff are where they should be, and they know where they need to go. I wanted it to be 100% as best as we can get. And we're so grateful that the sensor technology we have truly does this. Just to finish this point, Nathan and I met with a group in Chicago. They had bought technology that used Bluetooth and had to turn it off because their staff weren't spending their time monthly trying to figure out what batteries need to be replaced. So the system ended up not giving accurate signals, and it also gave false alarms, caused a lot of bad things, a lot of unnecessary interruptions to very busy care delivery services. So they turned it off, and when they were told about our system, the guy summed it up very well. He said, "You actually do what you say you do," and we do, and we have that track record to talk to that. I could go on, but I think I've made the point. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. One of the questions that I did want to ask, because you had mentioned about the signal strength. I'm very much a novice on infrared. And what does that use to be able to track? I mean, I know it's infrared, but I don't really know what that means.
Sure. It's a signal that the resident will have a pendant, and that's another point. It could be worn around the wrist. It's a wearable, or it could be affixed to a belt or a shoe. There's a variety of, and believe me, we've been through almost every scenario, although there's always a new one that pops up. We've been doing this in memory care since July of 2013. But that device, what it does is it picks up the infrared signal, and that signal is different in every room. So it'll know, for example, if resident John is, and he's got his pendant, when he goes into a room, there is a what's called a monitor. That's the name of the sensor type for covering a room, and it has a unique identification in its infrared signal. So that infrared signal is going to hit John's pendant, and it's second generation, meaning it could, and it's health. There's no health issues with infrared. It's been proven time and time again to be very safe. It's used in hospitals and acute settings quite a bit. And that can go through a sweater, a blanket. If it's under a bed, the signals bounce, so it could pick it up. And so that's how we know where John is. John is in that room. When John moves out of that room to go to the hallway, there's an infrared signal that has its unique ID in the hallway that now picks up his pendant and says, "Oh, that's John," and this monitor for the hallway is what's picking up John's signal. So that's how you can see that seamless movement in a building from not only the resident, but of course the staff and key assets. By the way, I want to thank you. A great idea for families. The asset tag can be put on anything, and very, very, very easy, very flexible in terms of how you can apply it. And that could be put on sweaters, could be put on iPods. We have it on iPods. Various devices. I was actually talking with a family. Their mother they had a beautiful sweater that had pearls in it, real pearls, and it was a very, very special thing, and she loved wearing it now on certain occasions. And they had a little tag on that, so they knew where that sweater was. So that's, does that help understand a bit better?
Yeah. Now that you mentioned clothes, are they washable, or do they have to be taken off and tucked in a pocket or something?
Right. Yeah. You can put them in the laundry, but it's not advisable. They have a waterproof encasing, but just to be on the safe side, we actually have a sensor outside of the laundry area, so that if any clothing that's about to be washed goes into the laundry or into the washer, a sensor will go off, a beeping will go off, indicating that there's an asset tag in the clothing. So they just remove it and then put it back on when the clothing is clean. So But
Okay.
you can go in the show. Yeah.
Okay, great. What about families in terms of their comments with this? Have you heard directly, or does it just all go through the communities that you're working with at this point? I'm going to throw that one to Jonathan. I'm sorry, to Nathan.
Yeah. We've given you a bit of a name challenge.
Yes, indeed. The family response has been very, very favorable. When we talk to people about the family portal, here just recently, actually, I was talking to a large group of individuals who have loved ones in and around care communities, and the overwhelming response was, oh my gosh, would we love to have the family portal right now. The stories I was hearing, surrounded around the quarantine, COVID-19, and not being able to see loved ones, and some of these things that's just made it even more challenging. And just talking about the engagement component with the staff and knowing where their loved ones, are in and around a memory care community, and just especially knowing that they're safe. When I think of our, we can set up additional perimeters around a memory care community. And for those who have spent any time working in memory care, you've heard the terminology elopement or exit seeking, behavior, where some residents might just have a tendency to try to leave the community for whatever reason. And there are just many additional layers where alerts and notifications, and that could go to multiple people. And not only when they would leave the community, we could have the parking lot, just for safety. And that's, I think, peace of mind. That goes back to peace of mind for loved ones. And when you're not able to be there with your mother or father day or night, knowing that if something were to happen or change, you could even get that little alert or notification to just call up and see how everything's going. And so many other times those things just happen and people find out about them after the fact. And oftentimes, depending on the notification requirements in that particular state, those notifications may happen, hours after. And that can be tough then how do you then have the opportunity to talk to your loved one or console them or be there for them? So, the examples are endless, and they're continuing to grow. As Jonathan and I say, Lori and everyone listening, we have the families, and they seem to very much be bought in. I think one of the challenges we're working to overcome is just convincing the owners, and I know the owners and the senior living management companies, they have very important decisions to make every single day, and they have very important things going on right now, and every day. But I hope that they see sooner than later that this is just something that can't wait. It's very much a necessity in the industry, and COVID-19 has certainly brought this to light to many people who I think were wondering, just if they wanted to make these type of changes and maybe spend a little bit extra money to make some of these changes, or just keep on doing things the way they've been doing, because it's worked good so far. So I'm excited to see things changing and to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good. Nathan, anything that you want to add to that? I'm sorry, Jonathan. I'm getting you all mixed up.
You know
here.
what?
We're making this tough on you, Nathan and Jonathan.
You can call me anything you would like. I'll answer. So I'm pretty flexible. Come from a large family, so just don't call me late for supper, right? I think that's the line. But anyway, Yeah, Nathan really hit on it. There's a real importance for transparency. I have to share this story. I was debating whether I should, but I really do think it needs to be said in terms of the state of affairs for many of these owners. I was presenting Family CareSpace to a potential operator for my community. And I said, well, this community has Family CareSpace. It's important you understand what it is, and I'd like your input. And they own other communities, and this is a potential one that they were going to operate in. And they were looking at it. So I was probably 2 slides in to the, what Family CareSpace is, the transparency, letting families know, where their loved one is, staff knowing where everyone else is, where key assets are, where their residents are, the custom alerting, all that. Well, the CEO slammed his fist, his hand on the table, and said, "Stop! I don't want to hear any more. Why do I want? I can't make this up. Why do I want to know when my staff are not doing what they should be doing? Why do I want families to know when their loved one isn't being taken care of like they should?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I don't want any." And then he concluded. He said, "I don't want anything like that near any of my communities." So, Lori, that's the coal face that we're up against when it comes to, people that have an ownership that is built around the, let's do what we can do to, keep family at bay as much as possible. Now they're not all like that. Thank God, not all operators or owners are like that. But there is, unfortunately, enough out there. Now, the balancing act is real, right? It's how do we deliver the services for the residents, for, certainly Alzheimer's, very demanding, and it changes, right? But also provide a return for the investment in building these communities and staffing these buildings. And I would say that in some situations, people are living through a very unbalanced response to that equation, if you will, or that challenge. And transparency may seem so counterintuitive, but I've seen it play out time and time again. Transparency brings, and you said this earlier, Lori, as well, and I'm sure your listeners can relate, transparency brings greater trust. Transparency brings more perseverance to endure challenges amongst the, if you will, community that are facing whatever. Transparency brings humility, right? I didn't get this right, and I'm willing to say that. And let's move on, let's correct. That's a different culture than, unfortunately, communities, some of the communities that are out there. They won't like Family CareSpace. And to be quite frank, it's not going to be a place that we would find an attractive client for us. So we're very sensitive to the balance of, giving care, providing that transparency, and also providing a more efficient, a more effective, a more financially sound community. And one of the ways that we determine how we can help, on both sides of this equation, if you will, on the family care side, also on the, the ownership return on investment side, we ask a simple question. How much time currently do your staff spend looking for other staff members, looking for other residents or patients, looking for key assets necessary for their job, or responding to bogus or alerts that are not real or not necessary? How much time in the run of a day? We ask this, Nathan and I and other team members at Family CareSpace ask this question quite a bit, so we have a pretty good sense of where people are on that. And the answer typically range is between 10 to over 20% in the run of a day, directly related to how big a building is and typically how short-staffed they may be. But can you imagine if you take a building with let's say it's a $300,000 a month salary payroll, and they spend 20% looking for other people, non-care delivered time. They're looking for other assets. And if that could be eliminated to zero, and our Care Provider mobile app does that, they can, at the quick look at their screen, see where every resident is, every staff member is, every key asset is. It's right there in front of them. And so you virtually eliminate that unproductive time. That's a big savings. Now, we were presenting this to a group, Nathan and I, and the COO quickly looked down and he saw potential savings. He said, wow, if you could deliver a 20 or a 10% savings on my staff and make them more efficient so we could care for more people, I would do this in a heartbeat. Now, we do that. We've done that. So there's still this, to some, this, I don't know, show me first, or I want to see somebody else first before I get in. We're really doing what we can to help show people this is the reality of it. And maybe it's not, 20% savings, maybe it's 10. But if you take 10% savings on $300,000 a month payroll, that's a $30,000 a month savings, or $30,000 of care delivery that you didn't have, that you now have the ability to provide. So very important, right? There's many elements to make this work, and transparency is at the heart of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, especially now with the increased pandemic costs and that they're going through and not getting support in terms of coverage with PPE and staffing ratios, and just, I had heard that their costs triple if they just have one person with COVID, in their communities, and so they've got to look at ways to not only save money but be efficient, and then at least maintain or increase engagement is absolutely critical these days. I wanted to also talk about the portal for the memory care community, and is that set up different from, let's say, an assisted living, and then also some listeners are probably wondering, can I get something like this in my own home, or is this just organizational-based, community-based system? And Jonathan, do you want to take that one?
How about Nathan this time?
Okay.
Perfect.
I can go back to it too. But, yeah.
Yes. So, thank you, Lori. And for the memory care community, one of the differences, the pendants, they can or typically do not have a push button on them on our memory care community. So, in, say, the independent living environment, there's going to be a button that you can press, and that will notify the staff. We can still have that on a memory care community. I think, again, this is individualized, but typically, or with maybe mid or later stage, Alzheimer's, various types of advanced types of dementia, we will typically not have the push button on there, but we still know exact location and such. And again, the wearable could be a necklace, a wristwatch, belts and purses and shoes and all sorts of things. So, so that would be one of the differences from memory care, just with the pendant itself or the wearable. And in terms of for those listening and for the individual consumers, we have rolled this out just this year to we have Family CareSpace, which is for our senior living communities, and then we have Family CareSpace. And Family CareSpace, we're working with various home care companies and organizations where we can give them in different packages, 20s, 40s, 50, 100, and they can have these base packs that they can put in their clients' homes, and then they will know when their staff, their home caregivers are kind of coming and going. The family member's still a family portal, for loved ones. In terms of rolling this out to the individual consumer and through routes such as, say an Amazon or e-commerce, we are getting very, very close. Jonathan, would you have anything to add? And when I say very close, Lori, we just haven't pushed forward with that piece of it yet, but we are ready to do that. We just haven't finalized that at this point.
Jonathan?
So, just to add to that, and a great question, Lori. I think if you're a family member and you want to sign up for the portal and you want to have these sensors in your home, so let's say you're looking after your mom, and, but nobody's living right there with her, so you get a sense of what's going on 24/7. And anytime things fall outside of a normal pattern, then alert would go off to the caregiver, family member. So, hey, something's going on with mom. These sensors, I'll give you an example. It's basically like a street light. Green meaning she's within a pattern of normal behavior. Red, and let's say we take the sensor in the bathroom area. Yellow is getting close to being out of pattern. Red meaning she's definitely out of pattern. An example would be, for example, if she is going to the bathroom quite a bit more frequent than normal, then that could be the potential of a UTI being developed. So that this early warning system, if you will, is extremely effective in reducing the occurrence of hospital stays or complications if not treated early on. And the families, the way it works is, Nathan mentioned about these packs. There are packages of sensors for the home. So a family would spend $649, and there's 5 sensors. 2 are motion sensors. They go around the bed, the toilet area. 1 would typically go on a fridge for food intake, 1 at the door, and then there's a pendant, emergency call button pendant that the individual will wear. And this data is streamed. So basically, the family would have a secure website, and they would get any alerts if there's anything new happening as well for the care agency involved. So the care agency on the portal side, you'll know when they visit. As a family member, I'll have an email alert, or the care staff is there at a certain time. They can take photo picture, same as they do in a community. Families would be able to see that, share that, just like we talked in the community setting. So currently, as Nathan said, we have this set up for care agencies to sign on. We're probably a couple of months away. We're certainly, any families interested, by all means, get in touch with us. We'd be more than happy to provide them the information. I do want to mention one quick thing about the pandemic, which is really important. We talked about contact tracing. Our system provides customized alerts. So if anybody is within a 4-foot, 6-foot, whatever the CDC guidelines are, we put that into our alerting system. So we avoid the issue of having to quarantine staff, because as you said earlier, Lori, and if staff can relate to here listening, that 14 days off the floor when, staffing is so precious right now is really a problem. Plus, if they're in a Bluetooth configuration, that area around where that infected person could be as much as 50 feet. And that could be a huge amount of people that the system doesn't know for sure if they're affected or not unless they get quarantined. So real challenge there. Our contact tracing is very fine-tuned and, quite frankly, is designed specifically for senior care. The second element of that is infectious control protocols. We know where housekeeping staff are. They wear a pendant as well, and where they move about. And we know that certain areas in the community need to be infected ever so often, and we know how much time it typically takes to do that. If it isn't being done, alerts are set up so that staff will know where to go, to reapply the disinfectant, that kind of thing. So very important adherence to these infectious control protocols. And the third thing is what we've talked about already, this family portal. Great way to stay engaged and get content regarding how mom is doing while in the community and quarantined through the portal, the updates, etc. So I just wanted to get that covered. But in terms of the family getting it for their home, by all means, we'd love to talk with them about that. We could work with their care agency or them directly, but right now we're really designed to work with care agencies. We will have an e-call or an online store where you can buy these sensors and get yourself set up. It's very easy to set this stuff up, and we take it all once it's set up, plugged in, and the Wi-Fi is. We're able to hook up to the Wi-Fi or cell. Then you get your updates. You have your special website that you can go to. It's really designed to be very simple, straightforward for the family. So we're excited about what that may mean and the transparency, again, that comes to that scenario.
Okay, wonderful. And then, Nathan, do you want to tell us what you'd like to give out for contact information since you're the National Director of Sales?
Certainly. Thank you, Lori. My cell phone number I will give first is 513-401-5498. Again, that's 513-401-5498. My email address is Nathan, Nathan, Gruber, GRU, B as in boy, ER, at Family CareSpace, all one word, FamilyCareSpace.com.
Wonderful.
I really appreciate that, Lori, and thank you again for your time and just giving us this time today to share our story and for all that you do to share so many great things for a disease that we need to certainly shed more light on, and really appreciate that. And also just want to make mention that I'm not afraid to share my faith here, but I'm just prayerful for peace and true peace and true equality, and just for everything to work out in our world. So thank you, Lori.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I second that. I hear that they're going to have moments of silence all over for some of the music channels and stuff, coordinating for trying to bring peace to the world and honoring George Floyd as well. So thank you for mentioning that. I also wanted to ask Jonathan if you had anything you wanted to put in there. I'm assuming that you want people to also know the website, which is familycarespace.com, that they can go to as well. But Jonathan, any last words from you?
Oh, thank you, Lori. Yes, a big thank you for all you do. I'm so appreciative for the beautiful people that have been part of this journey for me with respect to serving memory care, Alzheimer's. Nathan's been a real gift, is a real gift, and so many of our team are. I'm really grateful that we're helping. I feel like we're very much helping. Many families have told me. We have a beautiful video of a family sharing what the family portal meant to them. A son in Florida, children in different parts of the U.S., and their dad here in Portsmouth, all being able to share those special moments, those pearls that they could with their dad before he passed. So I'm just so grateful that we can be part of this journey, and it's such a special gift, isn't it, to bring some light where it seems very, very difficult. So anything we can do to help families, communities, that's what we're all about. So
Wonderful.
I appreciate this time. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being with us. And in wrapping up, I just want to thank our audience once again. And I hope that you will go ahead and like, click, and share this episode and help spread the word of the Family CareSpace. And until next time, stay peaceful, stay healthy. Love ya. Bye now.
Well, hi, I'm Lori La Bey, and I wanted to tell you about Alzheimer Speaks, which is another great podcast. You see, my own mother lived with dementia for 30 years, and I felt lost. Did you know every 3 seconds someone in the world is being diagnosed with dementia? Odds are it's going to hit your families too. We want to help you connect to services, products, tools, research, and stories so you can be prepared. Please subscribe to Alzheimer Speaks on your favorite podcast platform.